Summer activities parents. Putting together a short video here for you to go through some of the summer COVID mitigation strategies that we'll still have implemented. Some things laxing up as hopefully we get back to more of a normal setting. And then after talking about some COVID issues, I do have some other information that many of you likely have seen if you were at the fall sports parents meeting or winter or spring. I'm not saying it's not valuable to listen to again, but we'll go over some of that information as well. So I'm going to start going through some things here. If you have questions, feel free to follow up with emails to this video, and feel free to ask Coach Tufts or Coach Bass at your summer activities meeting with them on Wednesday or Friday, respectively. My contact information here. If you need anything, feel free to reach out, email, phone. Give us a like on Facebook and a like on Twitter, and start following along with some of the things that we get put out to celebrate our athletes and our different programs on those two platforms. Welcome and thank you for attending. Thank you for listening. Thank you for coming through the video. Just a lot of communication pieces have really had to improve with COVID-19. And I look forward to continuing to make sure that you're communicated with very well on expectations and different things, not only at Nevada, but also when you visit other schools. So that will be part of tonight's, here's this presentation as well. Some COVID-19 concerns, some things still in place as we head into the summer. You still will have 3 methods of transportation. You can either use the school transportation, students can still take themselves to events, and parents can still take their children to events as well. With yourself and your parents, we still hope that you respect that only the student can drive themselves, not other student athletes, and that parents only transport their immediate family, so their children only. You can select all 3 methods. We do ask that there is a typical method, and if you follow a different method for that evening or that day or that event, you just let your coach and myself know. I'll give you an email back saying confirm, thank you, and we'll go from there. The Iowa High School Athletic Association and the Girls Union are still requiring health screenings, so we'll still screen students into practice. Water and personal items. Summer, this is pretty typical for summer. Should be bringing your own water and personal items to baseball and softball this summer. At NCSD events, masks are required in common areas when entering the facility, purchasing concessions, and using the restroom. Masks are not required when seated as a spectator, as long as socially distanced. We're also going to remove the every other row signs that have been out at different events, and just ask that in the summer that you use courtesy. If you can bring a lawn chair, find yourself a space to kind of distance out away from others, and if you choose to use bleacher seating, just have common courtesy of those around you. Children and students pre-K through 8 still must attend with an adult. Away attendance, I'll send an email out weekly. Hopefully I have lots of information to share with you. I would just plan on bringing a mask wherever you go, at minimum bringing a mask. And I would say that it's probably a good idea to have multiple forms of payment, whether that's cash and credit. I'd be prepared to have either of those 2 things, and you'd be fine at most events this summer. Please remember when you're going to away events that you represent Nevada when you put on the purple and gold, and that when you're entering, if there's something you don't agree with or don't like, it's just people doing their job and what they're asked to do. So please represent the Cubs in a positive way. We're still TBD on live feeds for this summer. Got some pieces to put together on that yet. More information to come on live feeds. We'll see if it's something that's viable. If it is something we can do, I'd like to be able to do it for all games. And if we're going to miss a game here or there, I don't like that consistency. So I'm going to try to put some pieces together yet, some more information on live feeds. One thing that has probably opened up, maybe become more lax through COVID-19, is that we're allowing for some more team meals and food and some of that bonding. The one big thing that we ask is that the venue for the team meal or the food is a venue where you can socially distance, where the students can socially distance. That includes maybe even at the ballpark, at another park, at Hickory Grove, in the commons of the cafeteria where there's lots of room. What we ask is that students aren't piling into someone's living room. If you've got a big barn out in the country and you want to put up some tables that are spaced out and have a team meal there, please go after it. So we've loosened that up a little bit. The team meals still should be served by someone in a mask with gloves, but a little more freedom on team meals as we move forward here. Coaches will update on sport-specific practice concerns with COVID-19, and spring mitigation plans will be followed until the Iowa Department of Public Health updates any contact tracing rules. Currently, Story County Public Health and the Iowa Department of Public Health would say that a close contact to a COVID-19 individual would be 6 feet for 15 minutes. And there's a chance that if someone were to contract COVID-19 and they were in our dugout, that we would have to quarantine the team or shut down operations of the team. So one thing you will see, at least from the Cubs, is that in the dugouts that students will wear masks when they're in the dugouts. And this is to avoid having to shut the team down, to avoid having to quarantine students in the summer away from baseball activities. So the one thing you will see from students is in the Maida dugouts there will be masks, and that's just strictly to prevent the quarantining of students and the shutting down of programs. That's the last thing we want to have happen. Moving on from COVID-19 information, how do you stay informed? Your coaches will communicate with you with Remind. You can also follow along on the activities calendar. The activities calendar for the summer is all up to date. If you want to download your calendars, you can get notifications. You can view and you can subscribe to calendars there. This is your best spot to find factual information about the games that are upcoming for your son or daughter this summer. Twitter and Facebook are a great place to stay connected with Nevada Cubs activities, putting out a lot of stuff on Twitter and Facebook. And also a newer method that's come along is Varsity Bound. If you haven't downloaded the Varsity Bound app, I would suggest to do so immediately. It's really powerful. Think ESPN for high school sports. You can find all sorts of information on there, including your rosters for this summer will be on Varsity Bound. All of the Heart of Iowa Conference schools are committed to having their rosters uploaded on here. So you'll find your summer rosters on Varsity Bound this summer, along with other things as you can see there. Our strength training program is really become a powerful tool in our athletics department. A lot of kids have really bought into the weight room and the idea of continuous strength year-round. For baseball and softball players, strength program will run 2 times per week required. Think of it like a practice. If you were to miss practice, a similar circumstance to missing lifting in the summer. Some of this is for upcoming season, right? We have a lot of baseball, softball players that will participate in volleyball and football and cross country, and those students need to be working out and continuing to improve with strength training. We'll also have speed and agility training this summer that students will be encouraged to take part in as well. Conflict resolution. Just please keep in mind over the summer that we all want the same thing. We all want an excellent, positive experience for students. But as the summer goes on with baseball and softball, we're going to have differing opinions. I might have a different opinion than coach, and coach might have a different opinion than a parent. But at the end of the day, we're trying to do what's best for kids and giving them a meaningful experience. The student always has a better experience when the adults work together. So if we can work together to come to solutions, that's the best thing we can do with conflict. Things I'll listen to with summer sports. I'll always listen to the concerns about ethics and the well-being of your child. Those things are very important to me. They're very important to your coaches as well. I'm sure of that. And I'll also listen if you've already spoken and met with the coach and you didn't feel satisfied with that meeting. I'm willing to come and be a mediator in that process and make sure we get to a common ground where we can move forward. Things that I won't discuss are other students. I'm not going to talk about other students, just like I wouldn't talk about your student athlete with another parent. We won't discuss playing time, and coaching philosophy is another area that's kind of off limits for talk. We hire the coaches, put them into place, and we might have differing philosophies, but that's for the coach to implement their philosophy there. Conflict's a normal part of life. High school activities provide a great platform to learn conflict resolution skills. In the event of a conflict, just know there's a proper line of communication. Please encourage your athlete, if they have a conflict, to meet with the coach. And if you don't feel like the coach satisfied your athlete with that meeting, feel free to set up a parent and coach meeting. Maybe bring along your athlete, and maybe the coach will bring an assistant coach, just so everyone can be on the same page. And if you feel like you didn't get any progress there, I'm more than happy, like I said, to step in, have a parent-coach activities director meeting, and mediate that situation for you. One thing that might be a change here is that for most of the year, the Department of Ed has actually eliminated the academic eligibility piece of no pass, no play. That hasn't been eliminated heading into the summer. So Term 4 grades could very well impact your student athlete's ability to participate, and they may have to sit for 30 days. So right now is the time to start talking with your student about where their grades are at to make sure they're passing, so we don't have we have anything this summer where they have to sit out 30 calendar days. So keep an eye on that. I would for sure say at least by next fall, we're going to be looking at academic eligibility being a piece to the puzzle again. So please make sure your students have the student athlete part of their day-to-day in order. Code of Conduct's addressed a student athlete's conduct outside of maybe school or activities. We expect that Nevada student athletes represent Nevada in a positive way, and because of that, any legal issues or other things may result in a code of conduct because playing extracurricular activities is a privilege, and it's a privilege that we take seriously, and we want our student athletes conducting themselves in a positive way. Rule of thumb, if you aren't sure if you'd get a code of conduct by doing something, don't do it. It typically deals with legal issues and things that would maybe arise to something that the police would get involved with. Just use common sense. One thing the State Boys and Girls Union wants us to make sure that we're talking about with parents and athletes are that students cannot compete against college athletes. If your student competes against a college athlete, you're likely going to have your student deemed ineligible to compete in that specific sport. So please be very careful with that. The last thing I want to talk about is Team Cubs. Team Cubs is an idea and a thought that as an activities department we've talked through. Really, we want to make sure that everyone's on the same team. What Team Cubs means is that the boys basketball team and the wrestling team, they're both on Team Cubs. Everyone on the boys basketball team and wrestling team wants both programs to be really successful. A 9th grade football dad and a senior track mom, both part of Team Cubs. The girls tennis coach and the girls track coach, they're competing for athletes in the spring season, but both programs really want each other to do well because they're part of Team Cubs. Team Cubs means being part of Team Cubs means we all want positive success for NHS students. Being part of Team Cubs means that you cheer just as loud for your student as you do the rest of the team. And being part of Team Cubs means you're supportive of administration, coaches, players, officials, and parents. Some things that we've done at Nevada High School to help come together as Team Cubs and support each other. 3D coaching for all head coaches. 3D coaching is a foundation that teaches the coaches and helps the coaches have conversations about teaching skills, teaching to the mental aspect of the game, and then ultimately teaching to the heart of the game and creating those meaningful relationships with students. Coaches, players, and parents, get out of athletics what you put into it. Are you giving all that you have to make this a positive experience? Some final thoughts. Student athlete, a family member first. Please make sure that your family member, your student, is taking care of their responsibilities at home. We want to make sure that then they're a student and then they're an athlete. Family member first, then a student, then an athlete. Sportsmanship, you're on display to your student athlete and school community all the time. When you throw the purple and gold on, you're representing Nevada. Please maintain your sportsmanship and show that we've got Nevada Cub pride in a positive way. Sign up for communications. Reach out to me if you need help. I'm happy to walk you through any of the communications. Do you want to be a bigger part? Ask. The boosters and volunteers are needed often. And then finally, Team Cubs. We're all on the same team, and it's a really great team to be part of. And I'm proud to be on that team with you. So thank you for listening through this. Like I said, if you've got any questions, shoot me an email. I'll either get you a call back, or if it's quick, I'll email you back. Ask Coach Tufts, ask Coach Bass at your summer sports specific meeting, but happy to help you in any way to clarify anything if necessary. Thanks again for watching. Have a good day.